Well, hello there. Just finished the review of one of my knives that I just gotten. And like I said in that video, if this is the only one you're watching, I've kind of got out of knives for a little while, and I'm getting back into it. Okay, so I'm just going through and reviewing some of the ones I've gotten since I've kind of gotten back into it. This particular knife here, I've actually had the longest out of anything. Any of these that you see, this is the one I've had the longest and used the most. Now, a little backstory. When I say use, I'm more of a traditional EDC use kind of person. I like knives of all shapes and sizes, of all, from really stout and tough to really delicate. I like them all. What do I use them for? Again, backstory. Okay, I'm a salesperson. I've been in management for a while. I've been in sales, customer service, retail, as well as a little higher end sales. So if that gives you any backstory to what I use a knife for, the knife spends most of the time in my pocket. When it's not in my pocket, it's cutting things. It's cutting string, it's cutting boxes, it's cutting tape, it's cutting cuticles. Yeah, I more yearn to use my knife than I do actually use it. I honestly wish I could use them more because I really enjoy them. Hey, there's my face peeking up over the camera there. Anyway, creeping aside. So this is a Spyderco. It's a Caly 3.5, and this particular model is the ZDP-189 model. Okay. Now, first off, this is a really, really elegant knife, and I like the way this knife looks from every aspect. I like the way it looks closed. I think closed, it just looks simple and elegant, and there's just something about it. Now, it is a pinned construction, okay, and I know a lot of people make a fuss about that, but they have added a hex nut to the pivot, so you can adjust the pivot if you need to. Now, this is a backlock. Now, I am not the biggest fan of backlocks. I don't like them all that much. I don't tend to carry them all that much. Now, I do carry this knife a lot, but the backlock itself would not be my first choice for a lock. There are various reasons for that, but I won't go into that here. That's not really the place. But it is a backlock. It does have the little Boyd dent, which is okay. It lets you find the lock. Makes it a little harder to depress, but honestly, this knife is very easy to. It's a very easy to use backlock. It's not a buck 110, in terms of stiffness and everything. Now, this knife is carbon fiber, and it's full carbon fiber. It's a full carbon fiber scale all the way through. This knife is made in Seki City, Japan. Okay. Now, you can put all made in USA stuff aside, because Seki City, it's a very good manufacturer of knives. They really know what they're doing when it comes to knife production. But anyway, full carbon fiber, stainless steel scales, or liners inside the carbon fiber. It's got a stainless steel backspacer, very clean. Fit and finish is very good. There's not really it's not really any raised edges or anything like that. It's very smooth. This employs Spyderco's wire pocket clip. I have mixed feelings about it, honestly. I used to really like it, and I do really like it for certain reasons. I like it for its deep concealment. I like it for its simplicity. I don't like it because it's fragile. You can see it wiggles pretty easily, even though it's tight. It wiggles, and as you can see on this one, it's kind of already stretched out a little bit. And I don't like it because I feel like it doesn't necessarily. This is such an elegant knife to throw just a paper clip on here as the clip. I feel takes away from some of the design. Now, I know that it's a corporate knife and it's not going to have a custom look pocket clip, but I think a custom clip that matches kind of the sway and the curvature of the handle would look really good on this. But anyway. So, next thing about this knife, I'll talk about. Okay, after you open it up, now, okay, so this is where, I don't know, so again, a little mixed feelings. This knife to me is very, very elegant. Now, when it's closed, it feels to me more of a gentleman's knife than it does when it's open. When it's open, it's a pretty menacing looking thing. Now, I've actually taken this out at work a couple times, and I get some kind of sideways looks from some of the coworkers about this one. Just because, I mean, look at it. I mean, you pull this out and people, I mean, it looks menacing. Now the Caly 3, which is, you know, probably shaped somewhat like that, is a little bit better. That doesn't necessarily have as menacing of a look, but when it comes to this nice, sharp, pointy tip, that is kind of menacing. But it is still very elegant, and if, you know, in a perfect world, everyone would carry a knife and nobody would care, this would be perfectly acceptable. Not that I actually do care. Now, this knife itself, okay, I already went over it, but either way, ZDP-189, okay? Now, this is a laminate, so if you can see that line right there, it's ZDP-189/420J2, as labeled by Spyderco. What that means is, if you even run your finger, you can feel it. But the outside of this blade is 420J2, and then this interior is ZDP-189. Now, I really kind of don't know why they did that, and I think that's a Caly City thing. Now, now, first off, don't get me wrong, I love the look. I think it looks amazing being a laminate. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, a couple things. One, it's very high polish, okay, which lends itself well to the gentlemanly look. However, it does scratch fairly easily. Now, you can't really see it on this. Well, you might be able to, but it does have some faint scratches, and it's inevitable in a 420J2. It's not a hard steel, and it will scuff up. On the other end, I don't know why you would need to laminate ZDP-189. The Delica, Endura, Dragonfly, they all use ZDP-189 in a full knife. Never had any problems with it. Doesn't really, I mean, it's not super rust resistant, but it is a stainless steel, so there's not really a huge concern with it rusting, especially on just a regular use pocket knife. So I mean, I understand the Caly City manufacturing and, you know, the kind of traditionalist or traditional minded, you know, makers will do a laminate like this, like a Sanmai, but, you know, I don't know. It could have just been full ZDP-189 and it would have worked fine, but I do think that this look actually really enhances the overall look of the knife, so I'm good with it. Now, ergonomics. Ergonomics on this knife are very good. Now, you can do, and Spyderco, I think, is the best at this. You know, their knives you may not necessarily always love the look of, but you're always going to like the look of it in your hand, or the feel of it in your hand. They always do a good job with your thumb placement up at the top, and the spider hole assists with, you know, placing that correctly. They always do a good job in jimping, not always, but most cases. They jimp at the bottom and the top. You can hold it back here if you want some reach and you really want to actually be menacing with your knife. Or, most of the time, I'll put my 3 fingers back here, still got a little bit hanging out, and then I'll choke up on the 50-50 choil just like they always usually do, and this will be my cutting. And it works really, really well. As far as the backlock goes, again, because I have that choil, if I push the backlock in, you notice what happens. Yep, just falls. And that's a really good backlock design. When I know, and first off, guys, this is super tight. No play in any direction. I can just drop it, just like that, and it'll drop. So what I'll do is I'll cutting, bam, give it a little shake, turn it, close it. So it's a backlock that I can successfully use one-handed over and over and over and over. And I mean, I've done this tons and tons of times. I opened it, used it, closed it. So, I mean, I've got guys at work who are kind of, sort of, you know, familiar with knives, and they do the same thing. Like I was showing one of the guys at work, and he just did this. Same thing I did. It's very natural, and it works. That being said, actually using the knife. Using the knife, okay, I've got some things here, okay? So this might take a second to explain. Sorry if I'm rambling, but the knife itself, the ZDP-189 is a really, really, really sharp steel. What do I mean when I say it's sharp? Because, you know, anything can be sharp. No, this stuff gets stupid sharp. Like, I'm talking mirror polish, like, easily mirror polish edge, sharp. I don't know if it's kind of hard to see, but it's really, 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 really sharp. And when I don't think I've ever had a knife that slices this well. Now, it's partially due to the thin stock that's, you know, fully flat ground. You can see how thin that is right there. Now this is probably sharpened to, what is it, maybe 15 degrees, I think. That's per side, so 30 degrees inclusive. But it's very, 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 very sharp. Stays sharp for a very long time, normally. Now, there's a couple exceptions to that. This is a very hard steel, okay? So I think the Rockwell on this is 62 to 64, and I know Rockwell is not a linear scale, so saying 62 to 64, there's a lot of error there. I don't 100% remember exactly where the Rockwell holds on this, but it's higher than a traditional stainless steel, more in lines with a carbon steel, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but either way. So it's very hard. So in that hardness, it holds an edge very well through cutting. So that's in paper and things that are that you're cutting. Now where this won't hold up very well, and I've experienced this firsthand, is things like prying and twisting movements. Okay, I've lent this to someone who was cutting a zip tie, and again, for a while this was the main knife I carried because for various reasons, the ergonomics, the blade, the clip, whatever. Either way, he was cutting a zip tie and he put it in, and he did one of those moves, and I just I'm not gonna just be like, oh man, don't touch my it's a knife. Most of the people that I live around here with, they use their knives, for things I would never use one for. But so he's going in, he's cutting, and he's pulling, trying to get the zip tie, and he's popping zip ties with it. And now it's not here because I've already sharpened it out. After that there was a couple of rolls or a couple chips and things towards the tip. Now I'm not saying that that's proper use for a knife, especially a knife like this. And that's why I still love this, because even though ZDP-189 can be brittle, this elegant shape, this flat grind, I think everything that this knife was designed to be, it is. I don't think it was never designed as a hard use knife. It uses a backlock, which is fine. I'm not going to pry with it. I'm not going to spine whack it. It uses a ZDP-189, a very hard cutting or hard steel that's holds a very keen edge, very low angles, and is very hard. Perfect for this kind of knife. The lamination, while not super efficient at hiding scratches, looks phenomenal. Again, for this type of knife, very appropriate. So all in all, I really like this, and this is one of the knives that I've had for a fairly long time and have continued to use and carry, and I just appreciate it for everything that it is, and everything that it's not. It's not something. I don't expect it to be anything more than it is, and it's never disappointed me in that aspect. So that's all I really have to say about the Caly 3.5 in ZDP-189. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or email me. I'm open to any questions you guys have. And guys, if you're into knives, recreationally, or if you enjoy them and you're not a member of Blade Forums, you really, really, really need to get on Blade Forums. Whether it's as a basic member, you really should be a paid member to Blade Forums to really get the full benefit. But there's so many people out there that feel the same way you do about knives, won't look at you strange when you pull one out. You can have a conversation with and really contribute to the community. So if you're not a member of Blade Forums, I really suggest getting on there. That's all I got to say. Again, any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thanks again.